Chapter 3971. You're Wang Xian? When Wang Xian and the rest arrived, in the center of the front, the holy son of the first sacred courtyard landed on him. Beside him, a young man asked directly, "Do you want to challenge me?" Wang Xian ignored the young man and looked at the saint of the first sacred college. What a joke. Why are you acting tough when you're here to challenge me? I'm not here to challenge you. I'm here to tell the world that you're not qualified to stand above me. The saint of the first sacred college stared at Wang Xian and said plainly, "Acting tough was slow. Space is king. You can fight those of a higher level than you. However, this also depends on whose level you're fighting against. Beside the saint of the first law sacred courtyard, the saintess also said lightly, if you want to tell the world that you're stronger than me, you can't just say it with your mouth. You have to prove it with your strength." Wang Xian couldn't help but chuckle when he heard them. Big brother is right. Strength comes from one's fists, not words. Long Yinhao, who heard the news, also flew over and said loudly, "If that's the case, don't waste my time." The saint of the first sacred college's eyes turned cold as he slammed the staff in his hand onto the ground. A wave of horrifying light energy landed on the ground, and cracks extended towards Wang Xian's feet. Yes, we really shouldn't waste time. Wang Xian squinted his eyes when he saw the pretentious look on this guy's face. In the next second, more than 90 space swords rose around him. 2 of them were inborn cardinal treasures. The rest were 90 swords set. 92 space swords disappeared in an instant and attacked the saint of the first sacred college. The crowd around him moved and retreated immediately. At the same time, Long Yinhao, and the rest also retreated immediately. The battle started instantly. The saint of the first law sacred college is challenging our Saint Wang Xian. Will Saint Wang Xian be a match for him? Definitely. In the ranking of the saints and saintesses, our Saint Wang Xian is ranked 10th. The ranking of the saints of the One Dharma Sacred College is behind our Saint Wang Xian. The ranking of the Obscene Forbidden Land is still very accurate. Although the ranking of the Obscene Forbidden Land has been prepared, there's still the possibility of a lower-ranked challenger defeating a higher-ranked challenger. The saint of the First Law Sacred College isn't simple. I hope our Saint Wang Xian doesn't get careless. After all, it is ranked 4th among all the forbidden areas in our holy lands. The strength of the First Law Academy is very terrifying. The clothes and weapons of their holy sons and holy virgins are specially made. They are extremely terrifying. In the surrounding area, a group of experts and disciples from the Dragon Roar Forbidden Ground discussed in low voices. They did not have much confidence in this spar. Although Wang Xian was very strong, and his ranking was 1 rank higher than his opponent. But after all, he was the holy son of the sacred courtyard of law first. Moreover, his cultivation realm was 1 level higher than Wang Xian's holy son. It was still uncertain who would win and who would lose. This saint of the Dragon Roar Forbidden Land is really arrogant. How dare he be so rude to our saint? This Saint Wang Xian is a little arrogant. However, I don't think the Star City Saint will lose. The space attribute can allow him to fight across levels. However, the possibility of him defeating our Star City Saint is very slim. The group of saints and holy virgins, as well as the supreme talents of the One Dharma Sacred College, who had retreated to the back, commented. They were still very confident about this spar. Moreover, the saint of the Dragon Roar Forbidden Land was currently the most controversial among the entire saints and holy virgins ranking. This was because the Obscene Forbidden Land had ranked the saint of the Dragon Roar Forbidden Land 10th, which was even higher than the Star City Saint of the One Dharma Sacred College. This was the biggest controversy. After all, the Star City Saint's cultivation realm was 1 level higher than the saint of the Dragon Roar Forbidden Land, who was ranked 10th. Therefore, many people felt that the Star City Saint should be ranked 10th. However, no matter how controversial the Obscene Forbidden Land was, they did not simply change the rankings of the saints and holy virgins. Holy Light Dharma Body. The Star City Saint snorted when he saw Wang Xian's attack. He waved the huge staff in his hand, and an incomparably huge Holy Light Dharma Body enveloped him. The Holy Light Dharma Body looked the same as him, and it was also holding a huge staff in its hand. The terrifying power of light shot out in all directions. In front of him, 92 sharp swords flashed and completely surrounded the Star City Saint. However, the Star City Saint was unfazed, and there was not the slightest change in his expression. He pointed the huge staff in his hand at Wang Xian. A horrifying ray of light shot towards Wang Xian directly. Wang Xian saw this attack and his figure disappeared immediately. At the same time, The sharp sword surrounding the Star City Saint began to fluctuate. Waves of extremely terrifying space swords slashed towards him. Holy palm. The Star City Saint saw it, but his expression did not change at all. He raised the huge staff slowly. The huge holy light Dharma body lifted its palm slowly. That palm expanded rapidly, forming a holy palm defense around the holy light Dharma body once again. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Rumble. Wang Xian's space swords landed on the holy palm, producing a loud boom. At the same time, the beam of light power blasted heavily on the spot where Wang Xian was just a moment ago. His attack was blocked by the holy palm. Similarly, the attack of the Star City Saint was also dodged by him. Tisk release. The Star City Saint snorted when he saw Wang Xian escaping with his instantaneous movement and blocking Wang Xian's attack. The holy light Dharma body retracted its palm, which was placed on the head of the Dharma body, and released a terrifying radiance. Countless rays of light shot out in all directions like hair. This move had completely enveloped Wang Xian. Sky collapse. Wang Xian saw this attack, but his expression did not change at all. He teleported above the Star City Saint, condensed a space sword in his hand and stabbed it towards the center. Swoosh. 92 sharp swords around him trembled and aimed at the ground. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Following which, the 92 sharp swords enlarged and stabbed towards the ground directly. They formed a sword shield defense, absorbing the attack of the Star City Saint. Bam, bam, bam. Countless beams of holy light landed on the sword shield, but were all blocked. Huh. The Star City Saint's son frowned slightly when he saw that his attack was easily blocked. Seems like you're pretty strong. He snorted coldly. Wang Xian smiled faintly and said plainly, "Let's end this." As soon as he finished his sentence, the 92 sharp swords that surrounded the Star City Saint instantly slashed towards this space. Sword Armageddon. Sharp swords appeared out of thin air and slashed towards the Star City Saint in the middle. The terrifying giant sword, from top to bottom, seemed to cover the entire world. Chapter 3972, Swords. Swords that could destroy heaven and earth. The horrifying swords of space sliced through the entire holy light Dharma body. The entire space shrouded him. The horrifying power made the saint of Dharma Sacred College, who was in the center, turn pale. He looked at the gigantic swords that could destroy heaven and earth in horror. He lifted the huge magic staff in his palm. The holy light Dharma body lifted its gigantic palm again. The gigantic palm almost covered the entire body of the Dharma body. Ka. Bam bam bam. However, the holy light Dharma body only lasted for a few seconds before it began to crumble rapidly. The horrifying swords of space continued to slash towards him. No. Sensing the horrifying attack, the saint of Dharma Sacred College was horrified and couldn't help but scream. Just as he was filled with fear, Wang Xian waved his arm. The gigantic swords of destruction began to disappear rapidly. Wang Xian waved his arm and the sharp swords flew towards him rapidly. The saint of Dharma Sacred College stood in the center with a pale face. His face was filled with fear and lingering fear. The sudden scene and Wang Xian's sudden killer move had caught everyone off guard. When they finally reacted, the battle was over. How could this be? How could he unleash such a horrifying attack in an instant? What a horrifying attack. Our saint of Star City couldn't even defend against it. Too fast, too fast. This battle was too fast. In just 3 moves, that saint of Wang Xian defeated the saint of Star City in just 3 moves. How is this possible? So strong, so strong. Our saint of Wang Xian is really strong to defeat his opponent in just 3 moves. Feels like they are not on the same level. Saint Wang Xian is so powerful. I was still worried that Saint Wang Xian wouldn't be a match for the saint of Star City. Now it seems like he defeated him with ease. Our saint of Wang Xian's strength is more horrifying than I imagined. His ranking should be even higher. What a powerful attack. He defeated the saint of Dharma Sacred College in 3 moves. He could even control the last move as he wished. What a monster. In the surrounding area, no matter if it was the saintess of the First Law Sacred Academy, the chosen ones, or the other saints and saintesses, they were all stunned. Even the elders, deacons, and other experts and disciples of the Dragon Roar Forbidden Ground looked at this scene in shock. They had also expected Wang Xian to win. But he had never thought that he would be able to defeat the Star City Saint of the First Law Sacred Courtyard so quickly. One had to know that the other party was the saint of the 4th-ranked superpower. This victory was too fast. It felt like they weren't on the same level. Woohoo! Star City Saint's breathing quickened a little as he looked at Wang Xian with an unusually bitter expression. He had come to challenge with full confidence, but in the end he was defeated in 3 moves. The strength displayed by the other party was too terrifying. It caused him to completely lose the ability to resist. He was no match for him. In fact, the difference was huge. Please enlighten me. The Saint Son of Star City cupped his hands with an embarrassed look on his face. Then he moved and left. Today he had lost a lot of face. Today's battle would definitely resound throughout the entire continent. He, the Saint of the First Law Sacred College, would become Wang Xian's stepping stone. His name spread far and wide. He would live up to his name. Take care, everyone from the First Law Sacred College. The elders of the Dragon Roar Forbidden Ground said politely with a smile on their faces. Then they looked at Wang Xian with a tinge of shock. Xiao Xian, your combat strength is really terrifying. Yeah. The other party is the outstanding saint of the First Law Sacred College. He's very strong, but he was defeated by Xiao Xian in 3 moves. Haha, today Xiao Xian, you defeated the saint of the First Law Sacred College. Moreover, you defeated him in 3 moves. This news will soon spread throughout the continent. At that time, the reputation of the Dragon Roar Forbidden Ground will be greatly improved. A group of elders flew over and surrounded Wang Xian as they spoke with smiles on their faces. My realm is still too low. I still need to improve. Wang Xian smiled modestly. Xiao Xian, you're too humble. Yeah. It's already very heaven-defying for you to have such strength at this age. The group of elders were not stingy with their compliments. Big brother, you're simply too strong. So strong that it makes people's hair stand on end. Long Yinhao came to the side and looked at Wang Xian with admiration. Big brother, you'll be my lifelong idol from now on. If anyone bullies me in the future, I'll report your name. Go play somewhere else. Why don't you cultivate all day? Long Yinin patted Long Yinhao's head proudly and said with a smile. Ah. The surrounding elders laughed. After today's battle, Xiao Xian's ranking among the saints and saintesses will probably rise a little. Those who can achieve such achievements will basically become the top existences in our continent in the future. Thank you for your compliments, elders. How far have I cultivated? Wang Xian spoke to them modestly for a while. Then, under the respectful and admiring gazes of the surrounding disciples of the Dragon Roar Forbidden Ground, back to his residence. Next, I'll increase my strength first and strive to break through to the Third Order Universe Sovereign Realm. Wang Xian did not continue to guide Long Yinin but began to cultivate. The resources in his hands were enough to raise him to the Fourth Order Universe Sovereign Realm. However, the process of breaking through still required time to comprehend. It was no longer as simple as it was at the beginning. Wang Xian estimated that to raise to the Third Order Universe Sovereign Realm, he would probably need 5 to 10 million years. However, in the universe, time was the most worthless thing. Time passed quickly. On the main road of the Sword and Magic Universe, the battle between Wang Xian and the Star City Saint of the First Sacred School of Dharma had caused quite a stir. In the past, the Saint of the Dragon Roar Forbidden Ground, Wang Xian was ranked 10th among the saints and saintesses and had attracted a lot of attention. Many saints and saintesses, as well as some experts and disciples, did not agree with this. But this battle had shocked everyone to no end. The Saint of the Star City Saint of the First Sacred School of Dharma's strength and reputation were unquestionable. However, in this battle he was instantly defeated by the other party in 3 moves. What did this mean? This meant that the Saint of the Star City Saint of the First Sacred School of Dharma was far from him. They were not even on the same level. This caused countless experts and disciples to be extremely shocked. Soon, the ranking of the saints and saintesses of the Innocence Forbidden Ground raised Wang Xian's ranking to 6th place. Yes, from 10th place to 6th place. As for the top 5, the weakest had already reached the Fourth Order Universe Sovereign Realm. In fact, in the current ranking of the saints and saintesses, other than the top 2 who had reached the Fifth Order Universe Sovereign Realm, the rest were all Fourth Order Universe Sovereigns. The reason why the 2 saints could reach such a high realm was because they had cultivated for more than 900 million years. Chapter 3973. Who would have thought that a small Dragon Roar Forbidden Ground could produce such a terrifying saint? What a surprise. I heard that the saint joined later. The Dragon Roar Forbidden Ground only has a water attribute, and their strength is ranked in the 90s. They aren't that strong. Why is the Dragon Roar Forbidden Ground so lucky? That Saint Wang Xian must have obtained an incredible opportunity. He might even have gotten the sword bowl of the powerful space swordsman. On our continent, The strongest cultivators of the space attribute are all in the space forbidden ground. How did that Saint Wang Xian get such a powerful sword bowl inheritance? I don't know. If Saint Wang Xian doesn't die in the future, he will probably become one of the top experts on the continent. After all, the space attribute is king. Wang Xian became famous after this battle, and it caused a lot of discussion on the continent. This also raised the reputation of the Dragon Roar Forbidden Ground greatly. Wang Xian didn't know what was happening on the continent, nor did he care about it. After all, Wang Xian was almost at the top in the other universes. At least in the Nine-Source universe, the Dragon Palace was one of the 13 pinnacles. Even if he was forced to leave the Nine-Source universe, Wang Xian was fully immersed in his cultivation. In the center, Wang Xian got Anlai to bring some hearts of faith and absorbed them. Hearts of faith were extremely beneficial for breakthroughs in realms. Wang Xian absorbed some of it and could clearly feel that it was indeed very useful. It could greatly reduce the time needed for his breakthrough. However, it would still take a few million years to reach the Third Order Universe Lord realm. After all, the accumulation of space power also required a long time. Time passed quickly. Because of the ranking of the saints and saintesses, the entire sword and magic continent was bustling. Long Yining came over from time to tell him about the ranking of the saints and saintesses, as well as about him. This allowed Wang Xian to have a better understanding of the changes in the entire continent. Brother Wang Xian, Brother Wang Xian. 4 million years later, Wang Xian was cultivating when he heard Long Yining's voice. He opened his eyes and smiled. What's wrong? Did something interesting happen? Wang Xian stood up, walked to her and asked with a smile on his face. Something big happened. Something big happened not long ago. Do you still know about the Forbidden Land, the Void Moon? Isn't that place occupied by a force called the Void Dragon Forbidden Land? Long Yining spoke. Of course I know. What? Wang Xian raised an eyebrow and asked. A terrifying son of God has appeared in the Forbidden Space Zone. Not long ago he challenged the Virgin of the third-ranked Forbidden Space Zone. Do you know what happened? The Holy Maiden of the embroidered Forbidden Land lost to him. Long Yining said with a face full of shock. Oh really? Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and revealed a faint smile. The Forbidden Land of the Void Dragon is really strong. To think that they have such a powerful saint. Yes, all the experts and disciples in the whole continent didn't expect this. They had never heard of the Void Dragon Forbidden Land before. Even when they occupied the Void Moon last time, they were still unknown in the continent. They didn't even have a ranking. However, the battle this time has shocked everyone. A terrifying force that can cultivate such a chosen is definitely not simple. Of course, there is also the possibility that this chosen was cultivated by the Void Dragon Forbidden Land with all its might. Long Yining was still astonished. If the challenge is successful, then so be it. Wang Xian nodded and didn't make a fuss. The dragon guards of the Dragon Palace might have been very weak in the past, even the weakest dragon species in the Dragon Palace. However, things were different now. With the Heavenly Yuan Swordsmanship, their strength was already very terrifying. At the same level, the dragon guards with the Heavenly Yuan Swordsmanship were basically invincible. Of course, if the other party also had a cultivation manual of the same level, they would be able to contend with them. However, whether such swordsmanship and sorcery existed in the universe of swords and sorcery was hard to say. After all, swordsmanship of this level was comparable to a Heavenly Yuan creation treasure. The effect of a treasure created by Heavenly Yuan was that it possessed terrifying power. And the power of the Heavenly Yuan swordsmanship allowed one to cultivate to the Heavenly Yuan creation realm. Of course, there was a limit to this as well. If an expert were to cultivate this sword technique to the Heavenly Origin creation stage, then others who cultivated this sword technique would never be able to cultivate to the Heavenly Origin creation stage. This was a very frightening shackle. The Heavenly Yuan swordsmanship could not mass-produce existences at the Heavenly Yuan creation realm. Big Brother Wang Xian, aren't you surprised? His sudden rise has caused your ranking to drop by 1 place. You're now ranked 7th. The ranking of saints and saintesses is very exciting now. The geniuses of the powerful Forbidden Lands have also made their moves, and many saints and saintesses have been kicked off the rankings. Long Yining continued. My ranking doesn't matter. It's all just some empty reputation. Alright, what's the situation with these geniuses making their moves? Wang Xian asked. It's like this. Some of the saints and saintesses of the sacred lands might not be stronger than the disciples of other sacred lands. For example, the saints and saintesses of the Forbidden Lands in the top 20 might not be as strong as some of the geniuses of the embroiled Forbidden Land, who are second only to the saints and saintesses. Now, some of the geniuses of the Forbidden Lands and sacred colleges, who are second only to the saints and saintesses, have already made their moves. Many saints and saintesses have been defeated by them. Long Yinin opened his mouth and continued, just like me and my younger brother, our strength and talent may be very strong in the Roaring Dragon Forbidden Ground, but in those higher-ranked sacred grounds and forbidden grounds, we are inferior to some of the chosen ones there. Now, look at that saint of the Void Dragon Forbidden Land called Roving Sword. He's indeed terrifying. Even the saintess of the Embroiled Forbidden Land is no match for him. That's the saintess of the Embroiled Forbidden Land, who can even defeat saints of the same level. As she spoke, she sighed slightly. Clearly, the Void Dragon Forbidden Land was very shocked by the Roving Sword Saint who had appeared out of nowhere. Looks like the ranking of saints and saintesses has changed," said Wang Xian with a smile. "Yes, it's already changed. In the past, only saints and saintesses participated. Now those geniuses can also participate. Moreover, some experts from the Embroiled Forbidden Land said that the ranking of saints and saintesses might be renamed to the Sword and Magic Universe's Geniuses ranking." Long Yinin said, "In addition, this ranking will continue, and there seems to be some benefits in the future." Chapter 3974, How's your cultivation going? Wang Xian chatted with Long Yinin about the current ranking of saints and saintesses. After chatting for a few hours, Wang Xian asked, "I'll probably need another few million years to break through to the pinnacle of the Universe Supremacy realm. I don't know the exact details yet." Long Yinin replied, "Breaking through was difficult. In the Universe Supremacy realm, it was considered not bad to break through one level in tens of millions of years." Long Yinin had relied on her incredible talent and unlimited resources to improve so quickly. As for the Universe Lord realm, even those especially demon-like existences, breaking through one level in 100 million years was already very terrifying. In the entire universe, after cultivating for close to 1 billion years, the strongest was only at the Fifth Order Universe Lord realm. These two existences were the saints and saintesses of the first and second forbidden grounds. They relied on what could be said to be the strongest background in the universe, cultivated the strongest magic and grasped the strongest resources. Under such circumstances, it had taken close to 1 billion years. As for continuing to improve, the speed was even slower. But given the strength of the two forbidden grounds, this saint and saintess could also cultivate to the pinnacle of the Universe Lord realm. After all, those two forbidden areas possessed the fortune of heaven's origin. As for the other Saint Forbidden Grounds and Sacred Institute, there were no such strong saints and saintesses. Then let's go out in 6 million years. I'll cultivate in seclusion for 6 million years to improve a little more." Wang Xian said to Long Yinin. "Sure, let's go out for training in 6 million years. By then, I can also cultivate to the pinnacle of the Universe Supremacy realm." Long Yinin nodded. Wang Xian nodded his head with a smile. After chatting with Long Yinin for a while, Wang Xian began to cultivate in seclusion. Time passed quickly. Wang Xian was prepared to make another breakthrough in his strength in these 6 million years. 6 million years wasn't short. It should be enough. A few million years wasn't long in the universe, but it wasn't short either. But to the experts in the universe, it was the time for seclusion. Buzz buzz buzz. In less than 6 million years, Wang Xian's body shook, and a burst of spatial power erupted from within. Feeling the power in his body, he smiled. Breakthrough. Used more than 5 million years to complete the breakthrough. Third Order Universe Lord Realm. The next breakthrough will probably take tens of millions of years. After Wang Xian broke through, he opened his eyes to sense it. It would probably take him tens of millions of years to make another breakthrough. And this was under the condition that they had sufficient resources. Once one reached the Universe Ruler Realm, it would be extremely difficult to progress step by step. This was the first time Wang Xian experienced the difficulty of increasing his strength. Unlike in the past, as long as he had enough resources, he could break through directly. He shook his head and calculated. There were still about 500,000 years until 6 million years. His mind moved. Within the Forbidden Void Dragon Ground, Wang Xian opened his eyes. While he was in seclusion, Wang Xian's main body had been helping to comprehend the power of space and think of ways to break the shackles of space. It could be said that he was completely immersed in it. Buzz. He moved his hand, took out a communication device and sent a message to Roving Sword. At the same time, he checked the messages on his communicator. The communicator made by the unscrupulous Forbidden Land was the one with the largest coverage in the entire Sword and Magic universe. It was also a common communicator. Even though the other Forbidden Lands, Sacred Grounds, and Sacred Colleges had their own communicators, most of their information and sharing was through the communicator made by the unscrupulous Forbidden Land. At present, The younger generation of the sword and magic universe was very lively. Many young geniuses rose against the heavens. He looked at the ranking of the saints and realized that he was already in 8th place. A genius disciple of a sacred ground suddenly went against the heavens. He defeated a group of saints and saintesses. He was a huge dark horse. This dark horse was far darker than Wang Xian. Of course, at present, the biggest dark horse was still Roving Sword. Roving Sword was ranked 3rd. Because he defeated the saintess of the unscrupulous Forbidden Land, a terrifying existence ranked 3rd. The unscrupulous Forbidden Land was recognized as the strongest force in the entire universe. Now, the number 1 was also the saint of the unscrupulous Forbidden Land. Apart from this, Wang Xian also realized that the entire ranking had undergone a huge change. Half of the top 50 were occupied by the saints, saintesses, and geniuses from the top 10 sacred grounds, sacred colleges and sacred colleges. This was the difference in their foundations. One could not become a saint or saintess in the top 10 forces, but that did not mean that they were no match for the saints and saintesses of the other sacred grounds. A powerful force was a powerful force after all. Buzz buzz. At this moment Roving Sword replied. Roving Sword had gone to the universe ruins. According to him, the universe ruins was an incomparably huge battlefield. The energy inside was extremely chaotic. In some places, even universe sovereigns would be reduced to ashes if they stepped in. The energy was chaotic. The entire sword and magic universe had been explored for more than 20 billion years, but it had yet to be fully explored. There were still many treasures there. The most important reason was that it possessed the power of space. With the power of space, under the transformation of space, many places in the universe ruins were constantly changing. This was also the reason why it had not been fully explored. Roving Sword was not alone. He had brought many subordinates with him. Among the Dragon Guards, Roving Sword was not the only one who had reached the 4th Order Universe Sovereign Realm. How many more were there? The rest had all reached the 3rd Order Universe Sovereign Realm. After Wang Xian replied to Roving Sword's message, he was deep in thought. This time I'll go to the universe ruins and see if I can get any opportunities and treasures. If I can get some treasures to enhance my physical body, that would be great. Wang Xian thought to himself. In the following hundreds of thousands of years, Wang Xian practiced his sword techniques. Big brother Wang Xian. The appointed time arrived quickly, and Long Yinin's voice came from outside. Wang Xian opened his eyes, moved, and immediately teleported outside. You've broken through? Wang Xian looked at her and asked. Yeah, I've broken through. I've broken through for a long time. I've already told Dad and Grandpa about us going out for training. They have also allowed us to go out. Long Yinin smiled at Wang Xian. A look of anticipation appeared on his face. Speaking of which, other than going to the center of the Forbidden Land Grand Ceremony once, I've never been there again. This time, will we be going to the universe ruins or the abyss of magical beasts? Chapter 3975. Let's go to the universe ruins. Wang Xian said to Long Yinin. This was something he had decided long ago. All right, I have no objections. Long Yinin nodded. My brother will be coming with us. There will only be the 3 of us for this training. No problem. Wang Xian nodded. Yeah, before we leave, my grandfather asked us to look for him. Long Yinin nodded. Let's head over first. Wang Xian nodded his head. Both of them made a move and flew out immediately. Long Yinhao, come out. Long Yinin shouted when they were outside. I'm coming, sister. I'm coming. Big brother Wang Xian. Long Yinhao flew over immediately with an excited look on his face. Let's go to grandfather. Long Yinin said to him. No problem. We can finally get out. Aha, we can finally get out. Long Yinhao had an excited expression on his face as he shouted in high spirits. Wang Xian looked at him and smiled. Long Yinin was speechless by the side. Grandfather. The 3 of them flew to the top of the sky peak. Long Yinhao shouted before they arrived. Shao Xian Yinhao, you're here. Come over here. There's a change of plans. This time you guys have to change your plans. The voice of the 3rd elder came from a palace above. Wang Xian and the rest were taken aback when they heard it. They immediately flew inside. When they flew over, they found that there were quite a few elders inside. Greetings, elders. Wang Xian and the rest bowed to the group of elders. Take a seat. Fortunately, you guys didn't leave. Coincidentally, there's something else. This time your training will be delayed. No, it should be because you guys have a better training ground. The 3rd elder looked at them and said. What's the matter, grandfather? What's going on? Long Yinhao asked in surprise. Grandfather, I've already reached the pinnacle of the universe supremacy realm. Why can't I go out? It's not that you can't go out, but there's a good thing. It's a great opportunity for you. Third elder smiled and said, this time, under the leadership of the thoughtful Forbidden Ground and the flowing water Forbidden Ground, the top 10 forbidden grounds and sacred grounds are preparing to open up a treasure land. They're sending the current generation's holy sons and saintesses, as well as those supreme talents, to one place. Grandpa, is there such a good thing? Long Yinin was slightly taken aback and could not help but ask. In order to deal with the cultivation calamity, all the powerful forbidden lands and sacred academies are willing to offer some treasures. Of course, all the forbidden lands and sacred academies are aware of the existence of that treasure land. In the past 20 billion years, all the powerful forbidden lands and sacred academies have been exploring it, but none of them have found any great fortune in it. Therefore they are willing to open it to all the chosen ones. The third elder said. Third elder, what is that place? Wang Xian could not help but raise his eyebrows when he heard that. Rumor has it that it's the center of the universe ruins. That's the battlefield of Divine Yuan Creation Realm experts. We've also heard rumors that it's the battlefield of our universe's Divine Yuan Creation Realm experts and other universes' Divine Yuan Creation Realm experts. Although there weren't any Sky Yuan or Fortune level experts that perished there, there were many peak universe rulers that perished there. The third elder answered. However, he himself could not be sure of what he said, as he had only heard rumors. Perhaps only the powerful forbidden lands and sacred academies knew the real reason. Now, with the thoughtful Forbidden Ground and the flowing water Forbidden Ground as the leader, they've given all the forbidden lands and sacred academies a benefit. That is, all the holy sons and saintesses of the forbidden lands and sacred academies can enter. In addition, if the holy sons and saintesses of the forbidden lands and sacred academies rank in the top 10 of the universe's chosen ones, they can bring an additional 20 disciples in. If they can rank in the top 20, they can bring 10. This time, because of you, Xiao Xian, our Dragon Roar Forbidden Ground may benefit from it. We can send 20 disciples in, said the great elder of the Dragon Roar Forbidden Ground. There was also a hint of excitement on his face. Once they could enter and cultivate, it would be comparable to cultivating in the core of the Dragon Roar Forbidden Ground. And the core of the Dragon Roar Forbidden Ground could not be given to a disciple at the level of a universe supremacy to cultivate. If they could enter this place to cultivate, it would be a great opportunity for them to do nothing but cultivate. In particular, this time the cultivation time inside could be very, very long. There's such a good thing? Long Yinhao's eyes shone with excitement. Yes, it's your good luck, and it's also our Dragon Roar Forbidden Ground's good luck. If nothing goes wrong with Xiao Xian's strength, it won't be a problem for her to rank in the top 10 of the chosen ones. When the time comes, our Dragon Roar Forbidden Ground, including the 3 of you, will be able to send another 20 disciples. The great elder beside him laughed. In addition, I'll bring you to the center of the continent, Tianyuan City. The specific names haven't been confirmed yet, and the rankings of the chosen ones have yet to be confirmed. Next, there should be another round of competition for the chosen ones. This slot is very important to many forbidden grounds and sacred grounds. The third elder continued speaking to them. Grandpa, many saints, saintesses, and supreme talents will be able to enter that place this time. Long Yinhao said. Moreover, those powerful forbidden grounds, and sacred colleges should have more slots than us. That's for sure. Places like the embroiled Forbidden Ground and the flowing water Forbidden Ground will probably send a few hundred disciples. It's already good enough for 2 of our sacred grounds and forbidden grounds. Only our Dragon Roar Forbidden Ground and the Void Dragon Forbidden Ground are lucky. A dark horse has appeared. The third elder replied with a smile. In other words, there might be over 1,000 geniuses who will be able to enter. I wonder what my ranking will be among those geniuses. Long Yinhao smiled as he spoke, his eyes filled with fighting spirit. Cut the crap. Get ready, we're going to Tianyuan City, the third elder said. The third elder said, I'm afraid you'll have to stay outside for a long time this time. Make all the necessary preparations. I'll also prepare some things for you. Yes, Grandpa. Yes, third elder. Wang Xian and the rest nodded. After exchanging a few words, they went back to their own places. When he arrived at his residence, his eyes flickered. Wang Xian had not expected there to be such benefits. He could enter the core of the universe ruins directly. Chapter 3976. Wow, this is Tianyuan City? Isn't it too vast? This is my first time here. It's like 100,000 mountains, so spectacular. Tianyuan City was the city with the longest history in the universe of sword and sorcery. During the last cataclysm, this place was called the Tianyuan General Selection Platform. The so-called General Selection Platform was where the armies of the universe of sword and sorcery gathered during the last cataclysm. After the cataclysm, this place became Tianyuan City. It could be said that this Tianyuan City was protected by the experts of the universe of sword and sorcery with their lives. Therefore, Tianyuan City didn't belong to any forces. It was the largest trading ground in the entire universe of sword and sorcery. It was also a place where the forbidden grounds and sacred grounds conducted public affairs. For example, negotiations and the like. Within Tianyuan City, there was a rule that forbade any experts and disciples from fighting here. No matter which sacred ground or forbidden ground you were from, anyone who fought here would die. This was an order issued by the creation realm experts of the universe of sword and sorcery. No one could defy it. Even the experts and disciples of the Innocence Forbidden Ground and the Flowing Water Forbidden Ground. After some preparations, Wang Xian and the rest came directly to Tianyuan City. It was Long Yinhao and the rest's first time here. It was also the first time for the 20 disciples of the Roaring Dragon Forbidden Ground behind them. They looked around in amazement, and their eyes sparkled. Wang Xian scanned the surroundings as well. This Tianyuan City was more like 100,000 mountains, transforming the mountains into flat tops. On top of each peak there were all kinds of stalls and restaurants. The scene here was indeed spectacular. Wang Xian looked around, his eyes shining. Let's go to the most central position. Leading the group was the Great Elder and the rest. This time there were more than a dozen elders. This time, for a forbidden ground of their level, it was a great opportunity. If they were lucky, they could nurture many elite experts for the Roaring Dragon Forbidden Ground. Of course, the main reason was also Wang Xian. Ordinary Sacred Grounds, Forbidden Grounds, and Sacred Institute only had 2 slots. Because Wang Xian was currently ranked 8th on the Prodigy leaderboard, they had 20 slots. Continuing to fly forward, Tianyuan City was huge. After flying for half an hour, they arrived at the center of Tianyuan City. There was an incomparably huge mountain peak. The mountain peak had been sliced in half, forming a huge arena. In the surroundings there were many mountains surrounding it. These mountains were also incomparably huge. But compared to the central mountain arena, it was much smaller. Wow, what a huge mountain. I can't see the end of it. Long Yinhao looked at the mountain peak that had been severed in the middle, his face filled with shock. Haha, rumor has it that this mountain peak was directly chopped off by a Tianyuan Fate Master from our sword and magic universe. Do you see that? That's the upper half of the mountain peak. The first elder smiled and pointed to the front. In front of them was a mountain peak. That mountain peak was also incomparably huge. If one took a closer look, they would be able to see that it completely overlapped with the mountain that had been chopped off by the waste. On that mountain peak there were many humongous words. The words flickered with a golden light, and the most eye-catching words were the Prodigy ranking. Below those 3 words there were many names. Number 1 was the Honest Saint of the Honesty Forbidden Land. The second place was the Flowing Water Saintess of the Flowing Water Forbidden Land. Number 3 was the Void Dragon Saint of the Void Dragon Sacred Land. Each and every name was exceptionally eye-catching and could be seen from afar. Among them, Wang Xian's name was ranked 8th. Big brother Wang Xian, look, your name is up there too. Long Yinhao pointed to the 8th name and exclaimed loudly. Wang Xian smiled. There were a total of 20 names and his name was on it too. Ah. The group of elders from the Roaring Dragon Forbidden Land looked over, their faces filled with excitement. This ranking also caused their Roaring Dragon Forbidden Land to become famous. Come on, go to the edge of the Tianyuan Peak in the center. In the next 1,000 years, the rankings of the Prodigy ranking will be completely determined. When that time comes, the experts from the unscrupulous Forbidden Land will send the saints, saintesses, and the Prodigy ranking to the ruins of the universe for cultivation. The first elder continued speaking as he continued flying forward. Only when they reached the arena of the Tianyuan Peak did they feel incomparably small. Compared to this incomparably huge arena, they were even smaller than ants. This was like throwing an ant into the ocean. At the edge of the arena there were numbers. These numbers corresponded to the rankings of the Forbidden Grounds and Sacred Academies. The Sacred Academies and Sacred Academies were all gathered here. When they arrived at the Roaring Dragon Forbidden Land, there were already quite a number of Forbidden Grounds and Sacred Academies. However, as they swept their gaze across, there were not many from the elite Forbidden Grounds and Sacred Academies. We have to wait here for 1,000 years first. This 1,000 years will be the most intense 1,000 years, the first elder said to Wang Xian and the rest. Said the great elder to Wang Xian and the rest. His gaze eventually landed on Wang Xian. Xiao Xian, don't be nervous. You're currently ranked 8th. It won't be easy to pull you out of the top 10. It's fine, first elder. My strength has improved a little over the past 10 million years. Wang Xian smiled and replied nonchalantly. He now had the strength of a third-order universe lord. His combat strength was enough to fight against fourth-order saints and saintesses. Moreover, due to his own attributes, Wang Xian's current strength should not be weaker than Roving Sword. The current Roving Sword. He was a fourth-order universe lord with the metal attribute. That's good. This time, our roaring dragon Forbidden Land can hold our heads high because of you, Xiao Xian. The first elder said with a smile. Wang Xian also smiled as he sat by the side and scanned the surroundings. Those who had arrived were basically the forbidden grounds and sacred academies that were ranked outside the top 50. Up ahead, there were disciples sparring with one another. Wang Xian did not have much interest. He sat there and chatted with Long Yinin and Long Yinhao. As time passed, more and more experts and disciples from the forbidden grounds and sacred academies arrived. After 200 years, basically all the experts and disciples from the forbidden grounds and sacred academies had arrived. Look at Big Brother. That's the thoughtful Forbidden Land and the flowing water Forbidden Land. They are the two strongest existences in our continent. They possess the existence of Heaven Yuan creation. When all the forbidden grounds and sacred academies had arrived, Long Yinhao looked in one direction and spoke to Wang Xian. Chapter 3977. Wang Xian looked in the direction Long Yinhao was looking. In his line of sight, at the other half of Tianyuan Peak, there were two forbidden grounds that occupied a huge area. Waves of vast energy came from there without the slightest concealment. Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he looked over. There were 4 Pinnacle Universe Sovereigns. Each forbidden ground had 2 Pinnacle Universe Sovereigns. Omniscient Forbidden Ground focused on the wind element. The creation of Tianyuan was also of the wind element. However, Omniscient Forbidden Ground had experts of all kinds of elements, including swordsmen and sorcerers. The Flowing Water Forbidden Ground was different. Most of them cultivated the water element, and most of them were sorcerers. Not bad. Both Omniscient Forbidden Ground and Flowing Water Forbidden Ground are very powerful in the Nine-Source universe. Wang Xian thought to himself. Not far from these 2 forbidden grounds, another forbidden ground caught his attention. Space Forbidden Ground. This was also a very pure forbidden ground. All the forbidden grounds were space attribute cultivators. In this universe where space was king and could challenge those of a higher level, one could imagine how terrifying a powerful space force was. The master of the Space Forbidden Ground was said to be second only to the creation of Tianyuan. Wang Xian looked around. Only these 3 forces could catch his attention. They could make Wang Xian a little wary. The other forbidden grounds, sacred schools and sacred grounds were fine. Wang Xian could deal with them with the help of the creation of Tianyuan treasure. Lang Yi would like to challenge St. Jingjiu, who is ranked 10th. At this time, a voice suddenly sounded. Soon after, a figure flew toward the arena. Few? A reply was heard. Wang Xian looked over. The challenge had begun. In the next few hundred years, the struggle for rankings would be the fiercest. Being in the top 20 would have many benefits. In addition, all the forbidden grounds, sacred schools and sacred schools were participating in the Genius Leaderboard this time. If one could make a name for himself here, even if it was just by 1 rank, it would be a huge boost to his reputation. In addition, he could raise the reputation of the force he belonged to. Therefore, whether it was the powerful saints or saintesses, or the saints and saintesses who wanted to challenge, they all hoped to improve their ranking. Since Wang Xian's realm had increased, his ranking could definitely be improved. However, he had no interest in challenging them. As long as he could get into the top 10, that was enough. At this time, Wang Xian also noticed a familiar voice in a corner. Roving Sword and the others were the leaders of the 5 mystic dragons. They were located slightly further away from the Dragon Roar Forbidden Land. The group of mystical dragons and Roving Sword had clearly sensed Wang Xian's presence. Wang Xian nodded at them without saying a word. In front of him, the battle between the 2 saints had already begun. All sorts of energies were bombarding the center. The elders of every sacred ground and forbidden area were resisting the aftershocks of their battle. The battle lasted for a few days. The challenge failed. Wang Xian sat there and watched calmly. He had some understanding of the strength of the 10th-ranked Sky Pride. Third Order Universe Sovereign Realm. This was the threshold of the 10th rank. As for Fourth Order Sovereigns, there were only 5. Wang Xian's ranking was almost invincible among the Third Order Universe sovereigns. After all, he had killed the Star City Saint of the First Law Sacred Courtyard in 3 moves. He had a solid battle record. The challenge ahead continued. Disciples and dark horses rushed out one after another. If there were any hidden talents in the sky list at the beginning. However, faced with the temptation of opportunities, all the sky prides of the sacred courtyard did not hide anything. As a result, the rankings were constantly changing. A dark horse appeared. After a few years, a dark horse suddenly appeared. The elders of the Dragon Roar Forbidden Land were shocked when they saw this. It had only been 200 years and a dark horse had appeared. He succeeded in challenging the 10th rank. In less than 100 years, a saintess in front of Wang Xian was defeated. Since the saintess in front was defeated, the challenger would have her name. The loser would take a step back. Just the appearance of a dark horse pushed Wang Xian's ranking to the 9th rank. This is bad. Why are there so many dark horses? Not even half the time has passed. The third elder furrowed his eyebrows slightly upon seeing this. Now that Wang Xian was in the 9th rank, if there were more dark horses, Wang Xian would be ranked after the 10th rank. After the 10th rank, the quota to enter the universe ruins would be reduced by 10. Wang Xian saw that there was another person in front of him, but he did not feel anything. With his strength, it was enough to stabilize the top 10. This time, because of the universe ruins, there are many dark horses. They are all trying their best to fight their way into the top 20, especially the top 10. As for the top 10 sky prides, they want to get a higher ranking and continue to challenge to fight for a higher ranking. After all, this is too important. It's also the stage for all the sky prides to show off. After 100 years, the 10th ranked sky prides were challenged again. I want to challenge the 9th ranked saint Wang Xian. Come out. However, to Wang Xian's surprise, the saintess who had just defeated the previous 10th ranked sky prides recovered her injuries and energy and continued to challenge. Brother Wang Xian, this is bad. This guy wants to challenge you. Xiao Xian, are you confident? He is very strong. I feel that he was holding back when he defeated the previous 10th ranked sky prides. His dark sword technique is really powerful. When the elders and disciples of the Dragon Roar Forbidden Ground saw that Wang Xian was the first to be challenged, their expressions changed slightly as they looked at Wang Xian. You want to challenge me? Wang Xian was taken aback and revealed a surprised look. However, when Wang Xian heard the challenge, he was taken aback. He was taken aback for a moment before he laughed. He did not fly over directly. Instead, he waved his arm and a sword of space instantly appeared in front of the challenger. The sword of space exuded a terrifying force, causing the surrounding void to tremble slightly. Compared to the past, I have already broken through. You are no match for me, Wang Xian said plainly. As soon as he finished his sentence, the saint who challenged Wang Xian stiffened and revealed a shocked look. You have broken through? Third Order Universe Sovereign Realm? He was taken aback and could not help but ask. Boom. At this moment, the sword of space that was flying in front of him shook. Boom. A wave of horrifying energy slashed towards him. When the saint saw it, his expression changed drastically and he quickly defended with all his might. Chapter 3978. Rumble, rumble. Rumble, rumble. Bam, bam, bam. A sword of space flew towards the challenger. The saint's expression changed drastically as he waved the sword of darkness in his hand to block. However, in the process of resisting, his body was constantly being pushed back. He had to retreat a long distance before he could barely block Wang Xian's casual attack. What a strong attack. The saint's face turned grave when he saw the sword of space in front of him vanish. Given your strength, Saint Wang Xian, you won't just be in the 9th place. You can fight for the top 5 or 6. He couldn't help but say to Wang Xian again. It's fine as long as I can get into the top 10. I'm not asking for much. Wang Xian replied with a smile. His words made the saint's face darken. The 8th place was also an expert at the Third Order Universe Sovereign Realm. However, he was the Saint of the Forbidden Space. The Saint of the Forbidden Space was at the Third Order Universe Sovereign Realm and could fight across realms. He was definitely not a match for him. In other words, unless he was at the Fourth Order Universe Sovereign Realm, he could forget about getting into the top 9. As for the Saint, he had to be invincible among the Third Order Universe Sovereigns in order to maintain his current ranking. The pressure was immense. Damn, it can't be. Big brother Wang Xian broke through again? Another breakthrough? Isn't this too terrifying? Our Saint Wang Xian's breakthrough is as easy as drinking cold water. His talent is too terrifying. Is this our holy son Wang Xian? Given his combat strength, he might be able to get into the top 5. Top 5, that's about it. I feel that our Saint Wang Xian is stronger than the Saint of the Forbidden Space. This is too heaven-defying. Our Saint Wang Xian's current combat strength can already challenge a 4th Order Universe Sovereign Realm expert. Even in our Dragon Roar Forbidden Space, this is very impressive. When everyone around Wang Xian saw this, their faces were filled with shock. Especially Long Yinhao and the rest. Back then they knew that Wang Xian had just entered the Moon Pagoda. When he first entered, he might have concealed his strength and was not just at the 6th Order Universe Sovereign Realm. But later on they found out that he was a peak universe venerable. In just a few tens of millions of years, he had already reached the 3rd Order Universe Sovereign Realm. Moreover, it was the most difficult to cultivate the spatial attribute. It was widely acknowledged that the space attribute was difficult to cultivate. The spatial forbidden zone was ranked 3rd among all the Holy Land's forbidden zones. That was already very terrifying, right? However, the Saint of the Forbidden Space was only ranked 8th on the Prodigy list. The Saintess was even in the 20s. This was because the space attribute was too difficult to cultivate. Even though they were able to challenge those of a higher cultivation level, there wasn't much that could be done to reach the peak. In the entire Forbidden Space, there weren't many peak Cosmos Sovereigns. In fact, they could be counted on one hand. Of course, their great destructive power and combat power were enough to make up for their lack of experts. At the same time, in front of them, in the Thoughtful Forbidden Land, the Flowing Water Forbidden Land, and the Space Forbidden Land, all the experts and disciples were stunned when they saw this. All eyes were on Wang Xian. Especially the saints, saintesses, and geniuses of the Holy Lands. This Wang Xian's strength is really not simple. I heard that he was able to ascend to the 9th level of the testing tower and kill 4 shadows of trial that were 1 level higher than him. With this foundation, that Suni's strength shouldn't be as strong as him. Senior brother, I really didn't expect that on this continent, apart from us and the few from the Flowing Water Forbidden Land, there would be such powerful peers. We have really underestimated them. In the Thoughtful Forbidden Land, a man and a woman were conversing. And they were the saints and saintesses of the Thoughtful Forbidden Land. They were highly respected existences on the entire continent. When they traveled, no one dared to offend them. This was the prestige and status of the Thoughtful Forbidden Land. The real dark horses are this Wang Xian from the Dragon Roar Forbidden Land and that roving sword from the Void Dragon Forbidden Land. Not far away, a woman holding a magic ball slowly opened her mouth and said, "Yes, if they are given enough resources and opportunities, their strength will not be weaker than ours." Next to the woman holding the magic ball, a young man nodded in agreement. They were the saints and saintesses of the Flowing Water Forbidden Land. Around them, some experts and disciples were also discussing Wang Xian in whispers. At present, Wang Xian's strength and talent were enough to catch the attention of the experts in this universe. "Xiao Xian, I didn't expect you to break through again." "That's great. You'll definitely be in the top 10 this time." The elders of the Dragon Roar Forbidden Land exclaimed excitedly when they saw him. "Don't worry, elders. There's still a place for me in the top 10. Wang Xian smiled. Given his current strength, he was confident that he would be in the 3rd place. Roving Sword was no match for him. Of course, there was no need to compete. Roving Sword admitted defeat with just 1 sentence from Wang Xian. "Big brother Wang Xian, you're too amazing. How can you cultivate so fast? My cultivation is so slow." Long Yinin looked at Wang Xian with admiration. He said with a face full of admiration, "Hee, let's see if I can help you in your next cultivation session." Next, the competition continued. But the battles for the top 10 were much fewer. However, there were far fewer battles in the top 10. With Wang Xian in 9th place, they would have to consider if they wanted to challenge him. In fact, some saints and saintesses would rather challenge Su and I, who was in 8th place, than Wang Xian, who was in 9th place. 1,000 years quickly passed by. As time went by, the number of challenges decreased. The top 20 had basically been locked down. As for the rankings at the back, the Forbidden Grounds and Sacred Colleges didn't really care. Only the top 20 had the authority to bring their disciples inside. First of all, congratulations to the top 20 supreme talents for achieving such outstanding results. When the names were confirmed, an old man from the ominous Forbidden Land soared into the sky and stood in the middle of Tianyuan Peak. He exuded a vast power. Looking over, one could see his entire body and face clearly from every angle. It was as though one couldn't even see his back. I believe all the experts from the Forbidden Grounds and Sacred Colleges know about the cataclysm. Although there are still billions of years before the cataclysm, we still have to prepare in advance. Following this, all of us from the Forbidden Lands and the Sacred Institute will gradually come up with some rules and regulations. Of course, this is something for the future. The disciples on the chosen roll this time around will be the main fighting force of our cataclysm in the future. The Forbidden Grounds and Sacred Colleges have decided to send the talented Supreme Talents, Saints and Saintesses, to a treasure land to cultivate and seek opportunities. The old man from the ominous Forbidden Land said. Chapter 3979. This treasure land is the center of the universe ruins, the core of a battlefield. In the Great War of the last cataclysm, many top-notch experts perished there, including dozens of peak universe dominators. The corpses of the experts are floating there, and their treasures might also be there. In addition, there are also their special items. Of course, none of this is easy to obtain. It depends on fate, one's ability, and one's luck. However, even if you don't obtain any fortuitous encounters or treasures, cultivating there will still be extremely beneficial to all of you. Cultivating there won't be inferior to cultivating in the Forbidden Grounds and Sacred Institute. The expert from the ominous Forbidden Land continued his introduction. In the surroundings, all the experts and sky prides from the Sacred Grounds and Forbidden Grounds revealed excited expressions. Also, I have to remind all of you little fellows that after you enter, don't just think about treasures and resources. Over there, the ordinary areas are not dangerous, but the things left behind around the corpses of the powerhouses contain terrifying power. For all of you, a single misstep could cost you your lives. An old lady from the Flowing Water Forbidden Land added after the expert from the ominous Forbidden Land had finished speaking. That's right. Treasures aren't that easy to obtain. If they were that easy, we would have taken them all. All disciples from the Forbidden Grounds and Sacred Institute, come to Tianyuan Peak. The other experts are not to follow. The Great Elder of the Flowing Water Forbidden Land and I will bring them to a place and then teleport them over. The expert from the ominous Forbidden Land nodded. Xiaoxian, you will lead the team from the Dragon Roar Forbidden Land. Let's go. When the Great Elder of the Dragon Roar Forbidden Land heard the words of the expert from the ominous Forbidden Land, he immediately instructed Wang Xian and the rest. All of you disciples, remember to listen to the orders of your holy son, Wang Xian. Understood? Yes, Great Elder. The group of 20 disciples answered excitedly. This time they were fortunate enough to be able to enter the cosmic ruins. For them, it was already a great opportunity. Among the disciples who could enter, they were definitely the weakest and had the worst talents. Once they entered, they would naturally be cozying up to Wang Xian. Then let's go over. Wang Xian nodded his head. With a swift move, he flew forward. Wang Xian stood together with the group of disciples from the Dragon Roar Forbidden Land. The other holy sons and holy daughters of the Sacred Academy also flew over. However, the omniscient Forbidden Land and the Flowing Water Forbidden Land had the most people. The disciples from the two Forbidden Lands added up to about 1,000 people. In other words, each family had 500 members. There were only about 100 disciples in the Forbidden Space, which was a lot less. The rest of the top 10 Forbidden Lands, Sacred Grounds, and Sacred Academies only had around 100 spots. From this, one could see the strength and status of the thoughtful Forbidden Land and the Flowing Water Forbidden Land. All the saints, saintesses, and prodigies from all the forces added up to only about 2,000 of them. Alright, let's go. The cultivator from the obscene Forbidden Land waved his arm, and a wave of energy enveloped them. The next second, everyone felt the scene in front of them change. Wang Xian scanned the surroundings. The space around them was very strange. It was as if they were in a broken glass. The surrounding space was shattered. If one were to casually enter a space, they might not even know where they were. And it's hard to come back here. I will open the passage into the universe ruins. After you enter, remember, do not kill each other. Barbarian Liu, you two will maintain order. You can deal with those who kill each other. The cultivator from the omniscient Forbidden Land said, his eyes falling on the saints and Flowing Water Forbidden Land saintesses. The two of them were the only ones whose strength had reached the Fifth Order Universe Sovereign Realm. Yes, Grand Elder. Yes, Grand Elder Wu. The barbarian saint and Liu Yu saintess immediately cupped their hands in acknowledgement. The cultivator from the omniscient Forbidden Land nodded and looked at the old woman from the Flowing Water Forbidden Land. The old woman waved her arm and a glass-like object appeared. The old man threw out the same object. The two objects fused together. A passage gradually appeared in front of all the saints, saintesses, and prodigies. Go inside. This passage can only be opened once every 100 million years. The last time it was opened was 1 billion years ago. This is enough for you to cultivate for a very long time. As for when you will come out, you will know when the time comes. The old woman from the flowing water forbidden land said slowly, "Enter." Yes. The group of saints and saintesses answered immediately. Under the lead of the disciples from the omniscient forbidden land and the flowing water forbidden land, the rest of the saints, saintesses, and prodigies entered directly. Wang Xian led the group of disciples from the roaring dragon forbidden land in. At the side, roving sword brought along 20 underlings and followed at the side. Wang Xian swept his gaze over and a smile appeared on his face. Entering this place he might be able to let in lie in. Who knows, he might have an unexpected harvest then. Moreover, according to them, dozens of Pinnacle Universe Sovereign Realm experts had fallen in the center of this place. In that case there must be treasures here as well. When Wang Xian and the rest stepped into the passage, they immediately felt the world spinning. Oh my god. What's that in front? Is it a corpse? What a terrifying, humongous corpse. What kind of creature is this? It's so huge. Even if it's just a skeleton, its aura is terrifying. As soon as Wang Xian entered, exclamations of surprise could be heard. Wang Xian's eyes flickered slightly, and he immediately looked ahead. Wow, my god, what kind of giant beast is this? Beside him, Long Yining also looked ahead with a face full of shock. It was the corpse of an incomparably huge beast. When Wang Xian saw the corpse, he immediately recognized it. The corpse of a giant beast of the Starry Sky universe. This was the corpse of a Pinnacle Universe Sovereign Realm beast. The corpse contained a special elemental energy that filled the entire space. This is the corpse of a giant beast of the Starry Sky universe. According to the records of the omniscient forbidden land, the Starry Sky universe is a very powerful universe. They give birth to terrifying giant beasts of the Starry Sky universe. However, these giant beasts of the Starry Sky universe have no intelligence. Some of them will be tamed and join the Cataclysm battlefield. The voice of a disciple from the omniscient forbidden land explained from ahead. Obviously, the omniscient forbidden land had a lot of records about this place. In fact, the creation realm experts of their forbidden land had even participated in this war. The Starry Sky universe, giant beast of the Starry Sky? That's way too big. Some of the experts and disciples from the sacred grounds, forbidden lands, and sacred institutes sized them up in awe. Chapter 3980, What a terrifying corpse. Even a giant beast of this level can fall. This war is really unimaginable. Just the aura of this corpse is making me shiver. Is the war of the Cataclysm really that terrifying? Huff huff. The Cataclysm will arrive in a few billion years. I wonder what it will be like. All the experts and disciples of the Dragon Roar Forbidden Land were shocked when they saw this scene. Just a corpse was enough to make them shiver. So, how terrifying would this war be? Everyone, this is the center of the universe ruins. This space is huge and the energy here is abundant, especially beside the corpses of some experts. In addition, some places here are also very dangerous. Be careful. Life and death are determined by fate. The barbarian saint of the ominous forbidden land said plainly. His voice reached everyone's ears. Disciples of the ominous forbidden land, follow me. The barbarian saint commanded softly as he led the disciples of the ominous forbidden land in a certain direction. Disciples of the flowing water forbidden land, follow me. Saintess Liwei of the flowing water forbidden land also commanded softly as she flew in a certain direction. Clearly they all had their own targets. The experts of the two forbidden lands had been here before. Therefore they were very familiar with this place. Let's go and take a look ahead. Wang Xian said. A spatial force enveloped all the disciples of the Dragon Roar Forbidden Land. He led the group of disciples and flew rapidly in a certain direction. The deeper they went, the more abundant the energy became. Wang Xian's eyes were shining brightly as he watched. As he continued flying forward, a corpse that was glowing brightly floated in the air. This corpse was in the shape of a human. It was very small, but the aura it contained was still terrifying. This was also the corpse of a Pinnacle Universe Lord Realm expert. As they continued flying deeper, all sorts of corpses floated in the air. After flying for more than 10 minutes, a huge building appeared in his sight. Brother Wang, what's that? It's so huge. It looks like a war machine. Long Yinhao looked at the strange building in front of him. The building was full of holes. Clearly it had been through a terrifying war. However, there were powerful arrays on the building. These arrays looked a little like the arrays of sorcerers, but also a little like magic arrays. The entire building was shrouded in a chaotic array formation, and it was unknown if one could enter it. I don't know. It might be a war treasure of some universe. This space is huge. It seems like we have to explore it ourselves. Wang Xian hesitated for a moment and looked at the disciples of the Dragon Roar Forbidden Ground behind him. Yes, big brother Wang Xian is right. Everyone has their own opportunities. Look at the surroundings. Even the disciples of the Obscene Forbidden Land and the Flowing Water Forbidden Land are scattered. In this space we rely on strength but also luck. If we're careful, there won't be any danger to our lives. I think we can split up to search for information and cultivate. In here, we can use the communicators to communicate. Long Yining hesitated for a moment before opening his mouth to speak. I need to separate from you guys for a while to investigate this place. Wang Xian did not hide anything and said, you can form a team. Since the Obsequious Forbidden Land and the Flowing Water Forbidden Land have announced that fighting is not allowed, as long as you don't enter dangerous places, your lives will not be in danger. The concentration of energy here is comparable to a treasure land. You can also cultivate here and improve yourself before exploring. It's up to you. He continued to speak. Alright, Holy Sun Wang Xian. Our strength is very weak and we can't be a burden to Holy Sun Wang Xian. Go ahead and search for opportunities. Who knows, our Roaring Dragon Forbidden Ground might produce a mighty expert in the future. A disciple of the Dragon Roar Forbidden Land said with a smile. As for Wang Xian wanting to explore on his own, the disciples did not have any objections. Being able to enter this place was already Wang Xian's credit. Their holy son Wang Xian had already given them a huge opportunity. They could not wait to be grateful. Alright. Cultivate well. You guys are still too weak, and it's difficult to compete with the disciples of the other sacred grounds for treasures. Just walk around and try your luck. If there's danger, it's best not to enter rashly. The energy here is extremely terrifying, and any shockwave will turn you into ashes. Wang Xian reminded again, his gaze falling on Long Yining and Long Yinhao. Contact me directly if there's anything. At present, only the Saint of the Obsequious Forbidden Land and the Saintess of the Flowing Water Forbidden Land are here. I'm still not a match for them. Alright, big brother Wang Xian. You have to be careful too. My sister and I will also walk around later. Be careful, big brother. Long Yining and Long Yinhao said. Wang Xian nodded his head and left immediately. Wow, our holy son Wang Xian was so confident just now. Among all the saints and supreme talents, only the Saint of the Obsequious Forbidden Land and the Saintess of the Flowing Water Forbidden Land are not his match. Doesn't that mean our holy son Wang Xian can be ranked third? Definitely. Our holy son Wang Xian is very low profile, but he's also very confident in his own strength. He's so cool. The disciples of the Dragon Roar Forbidden Land exclaimed in awe. Alright, let's walk around. This place probably isn't too big. After we're done, those who want to cultivate can cultivate, and those who want to search for opportunities can do so. Long Yining said with a smile as he watched Wang Xian's figure disappear. At the same time, Wang Xian had already arrived beside Roving Sword and the rest. Roving Sword and his subordinates floated in the void, standing respectfully beside Wang Xian. Roving Sword, bring them around and see if they can find any opportunities. If anything happens, contact me. Wang Xian said to Roving Sword. Yes, Dragon King. Roving Sword nodded. Alright, let's split up and act. Wang Xian said. He was prepared to act alone to see if he could find any treasures. There were corpses of experts here as well as terrifying and powerful war machines. The space here wasn't very stable either. Wang Xian sensed it and felt that the space here could only support 6th Order Universe sovereigns at most. In other words, if a 7th Order Sovereign Realm expert were to enter this space, the space around them would collapse. No one knew what the outcome of the collapse would be. But clearly it would be extremely dangerous. No wonder this treasure land was taken out for all the supreme talents to enter. Looks like there's a reason behind it. Wang Xian murmured. Fortunately, Wang Xian's real body didn't enter this time. Wang Xian was worried that his real body would be discovered, so he didn't fuse with his real body. This decision was very correct. In this space, even if his real body came, he couldn't show himself. Moreover, he had to suppress his real body's energy. Chapter 3981. If my main body can't enter, my advantage will be reduced. Of course it's just a little. And Lai should be able to enter. And Lai should be able to bring someone in too. Wang Xian mumbled to himself. With a jerk of his body, he continued to fly forward. He scanned his surroundings. The deeper he flew, the more war machines there were. Some of the war machines even had corpses on them. The energy of these corpses wasn't as terrifying as that of a pinnacle universe lord, but it wasn't weak either. They must have been 8th or 9th order sovereigns. With the help of the war machines, they could unleash the destructive power of a pinnacle universe lord. Wang Xian came to the side of a war machine and found that he could enter. He entered the depths of the war machine but didn't find any treasures. The war machines that can enter, even if there are treasures inside, would have been taken away by the obscene forbidden land and the flowing water forbidden land. Wang Xian muttered to himself. He moved and flew towards a war machine that looked like a spaceship. This spaceship was shrouded in energy, and there were also terrifying holes on it. After he entered from one of the holes, he found that there was an energy barrier in the depths. He used his hands to feel it, and it wasn't something he could break through. He needed to at least have the strength of a ninth-order sovereign. Even if there are treasures inside, it'll be hard to get them. Wang Xian thought to himself. He reckoned that even if there were any fortuitous encounters or treasures here, they would be extremely dangerous and difficult to obtain. Otherwise, why would they leave them behind? As he thought about it, he moved and continued to investigate the surroundings. As Wang Xian continued flying forward, he was slightly taken aback when he saw a dilapidated building. This is a god nation? There's a god nation here? Looking at the huge building, Wang Xian was slightly taken aback. He was taken aback. A god nation that belonged to a Nine Origins universe expert. Wang Xian was absolutely right about this. Experts from the sword and magic universe wouldn't cultivate a god nation. Wang Xian flew over and checked the god nation. He found that it was of the water attribute. The god nation was dilapidated, but it was still sealed by energy and he couldn't enter. This god nation doesn't have the aura of a divine dragon. It doesn't seem to belong to the divine dragon race. I wonder why a god nation would appear here. Wang Xian murmured, his face filled with doubt. He continued to search the surroundings but did not see any more god kingdoms. There were about 50 to 60 other broken war machines and corpses. Those who could enter had no treasures. If there was an energy barrier, Wang Xian wouldn't be able to enter. It seems that I have to wait for Enlai to come before I can enter these war machines and God's kingdom. I should be able to get a good harvest there. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled with anticipation. This was like opening a blind box. What if you could find a powerful treasure? He didn't encounter any danger. Wang Xian continued flying. At this time, with his powerful perception, he sensed a powerful spatial fluctuation. His body moved and he immediately flew over. When he flew over, he saw a pagoda floating askew in the air. There was no land in this entire space. Everything was floating in the air. The bottom gave people a dangerous feeling. That was the bottom and there was danger. In front of them, the tip of the huge tilted pagoda that was already upside down was inserted into the void below. It was as if he had entered another dimension. Wang Xian looked over with a curious look on his face. He moved closer and looked at where the tip was inserted. At the edge, he could vaguely sense that it was another space. However, in the short distance that it traveled, there were spatial storms. The energy of the spatial storms wasn't very strong. With Wang Xian's strength, he should be able to make it through. He looked around and sensed with his mind. Someone was here just now. It seems like he entered. In the surrounding space, Wang Xian could feel the spatial fluctuations. Obviously, someone had been here before. The saints and saintesses of innocence forbidden land and flowing water forbidden land? Wang Xian murmured. He hesitated for a moment before he moved and flew inside. There were only a few decades left before he could contact Enlai again. He could go in and take a look. Even if he was trapped inside, he could get Enlai to bring him out. A powerful spatial tearing force came, and Wang Yun's spatial energy covered his body, condensing into sharp swords to defend against it. It didn't take long for him to appear in another space. When Wang Yun caught sight of this space, his body froze for a moment. This space wasn't very big and couldn't be compared to the space above. However, this space wasn't small either. Moreover, the energy in this space was much more stable than the space above. In front of him, there were more than a dozen huge pillars. These pillars seemed to be supporting the entire space. In this space, there was a building that contained spatial power similar to the Void Tower. This building was almost complete and contained a huge amount of spatial power. It does look like the Void Tower. No, this should be the Void Tower. It's similar to Enlai's Void Tower. Its aura and level should be the same. Wang Xian looked over and his eyes sparkled. Other than the Void Tower, there were more than a dozen corpses. These corpses were all trapped and killed here. Other than these, there was nothing else. To think that a Void Tower of the Void Clan would appear here. What a surprise. Moreover, this Void Tower hasn't been destroyed. It's obvious that it's being suppressed. Could it be that the Void Universe is involved in this war? Wang Xian looked around and his eyes sparkled. This should be a huge array that trapped and killed these experts. Impressive. A huge array that trapped and killed more than a dozen peak universe rulers. There's also a horrifying void tower. Wang Xian sighed. At this time he sensed something and immediately looked to the right. There, he saw some figures standing in front of the huge pillars. Those are the saints and saintesses from the flowing water forbidden land of innocence forbidden land. There seems to be the saints and saintesses from the sacred institute and sacred land. Wang Xian looked over and murmured. At this time he also realized that there were saints, saintesses, and supreme talents surrounding each huge pillar. This made him curious. He hesitated for a moment and flew over. However, before he could reach it, he saw that there were many figures at the center of the gigantic pillars. Obviously these figures had been sealed and were dead. On the pillars there were a lot of magic symbols. These sealed and dead figures sat on a throne, each of them holding a large magic staff in their hands, their expressions filled with determination. Chapter 3982. Wang Xian's arrival attracted the attention of some saints and saintesses in this space. They looked over with sparkling eyes. It's Saint Wang Xian. A saint saw Wang Xian and said. The saintess beside him looked at Wang Xian and nodded her head. They didn't say anything. There were 12 demonic pillars here. Within each demonic pillar was a peak universe lord expert from the sword and sorcery universe. During the last cataclysm they had used the demonic pillars to kill a group of enemies. One of the enemies even had an extremely terrifying battle machine. And within these demonic pillars, there was a vast amount of energy and understanding of magic. If one was lucky, one could even absorb the remaining mental energy of the expert. If one absorbed this mental energy in the future, it would be equivalent to obtaining a terrifying inheritance. It depended on the amount of mental energy absorbed. If there was a lot, it would be even more terrifying than a magic inheritance. In addition, if one could enter the interior of the demonic pillar, one could also obtain the treasures of the expert. The magic staff in one's hand, the magic robe on one's body, and the treasures in the spatial items. But it wasn't so easy to enter the interior of the demonic pillar. One had to gain the recognition of some energy and mental energy within. In addition, to enter this space, one had to first pass through the space channel. Only those who had reached the Third Order Universe Lord realm could enter. Of course, those with powerful defensive treasures could also enter. For example, there were 20 to 30 disciples in the Innocence Forbidden Land and Flowing Water Forbidden Land. Wang Xian scanned the surroundings and sensed the place. The power of space here is very stable. Even if I enter with my own body, it won't collapse. He sensed and his eyes sparkled. He moved and came to the front of a demonic pillar. There were 12 demonic pillars of various attributes. There was even one with spatial attributes. When Wang Xian arrived, 4 figures were kneeling in front of the demonic pillar. He looked at the 4 figures and knew that they were the saints and saintesses of the Forbidden Land. The saints and saintesses of the Forbidden Land also sensed Wang Xian's arrival and looked at him. This is a senior from our Forbidden Land, Saint Wang Xian. I hope you won't be rude. Saint Su and I looked at Wang Xian and said plainly. Of course. Wang Xian nodded his head. He came to the front of the demonic pillar and felt it with his hands. The entire magic pillar should be part of a huge magic array. The demonic pillar still contained boundless energy. These demonic pillars seemed to be able to actively absorb the energy of the world. Because of these demonic pillars, the energy in this space was much denser than in the previous space. Buzz. Wang Xian injected some space energy into it. In an instant, waves of killing intent rushed into his mind. His expression changed slightly, and then he felt the scene in front of him change. A vast murderous aura, a vast battlefield, and a terrifying battle surged into his mind. This vast murderous aura could even destroy his brain and soul. You're courting death. How dare you inject your energy into the demonic pillar? Once your energy enters the demonic pillar, the energy and will of the demonic pillar will directly rush into your mind and destroy everything in your life force. When the saintess of the forbidden space saw Wang Xian injecting energy into it, she was taken aback. Following which, she revealed a mocking expression. Saintess, he seems to be under the impact of the willpower of the energy. He's doomed. It'll be interesting if Wang Xian dies here. After all, he came from a small place and doesn't know anything about the universe ruins. Under such circumstances, acting rashly will cost him his life. When the other supreme talents of the forbidden space saw this, they were also taken aback. They shook their heads and commented with a tinge of mockery and sympathy. Although it's safer here, there are many hidden dangers. Wang Xian is going to be crushed by the willpower of the demonic pillar. Saint Su and I from the forbidden space also shook his head and said. The commotion here also attracted the attention of the other saints and saintesses beside the demonic pillars. They turned to look at Zhang Xian with astonishment on their faces. It can't be. Wang Xian is using his energy to touch the demonic pillar? He's doomed? This? If he dies directly, he'll be the most pitiful saint. To die to the demonic pillar the moment he arrived here? Some of the saints, saintesses, and supreme talents commented with disbelief. At this moment, Wang Xian indeed felt a vast killing intent surging towards him. At the same time, an image of a battlefield appeared in his mind. In the image he seemed to have become a powerful space cultivator. Around him, there were 11 existences at the same level as him. With a shake of their bodies, a demonic pillar soared into the sky. The 12 of them moved. In an instant they flew towards the enemies in front of them. In the middle of this group of enemies, there was a humongous space war machine and an eerie mountain peak filled with deathly stillness. There were also a dozen Pinnacle Universe Lord Realm experts. They rushed over and a terrifying battle broke out. Using the power of the magical array, they destroyed the eerie mountain peak. They destroyed the Pinnacle Universe Lord Realm experts one after another. Only the space war machine was not destroyed. However, the space war machine was completely suppressed by them. Within the space war machine, 2 experts with terrifying space power rushed out and tried to open a path. At this moment, Wang Xian saw himself, waving the magic scepter in his hand. The entire space was shrouded. The surrounding space collapsed and ruptured, and they directly entered a new space. Roars. Sounds of battle. Terrifying killing intent filled the entire space. In the end, the 2 space attribute experts were killed by them. However, the 12 of them had also expended all their vitality. They looked at each other. A throne appeared behind them and they sat on it. Death. Death. However, that invincible aura, that terrifying murderous intent, still surged in this space. It was a very heroic battle. 1111. Under this willpower, Wang Xian was like a small boat. However, his body shook as he used his powerful will and mental power to resist the attack. He kept his mind clear. All the killing intent had no effect on him. Wang Xian stood there quietly for a long time. It had been more than 10 days. He slowly opened his eyes and revealed a faint smile. He did not expect a casual touch to reap such rewards. Chapter 3983. A Pleasant Surprise. Wang Xian injected his energy into the demonic pillar and obtained the impact of the will of the expert within the demonic pillar. He entered his battle perspective and survived the entire process. This gave him a huge advantage. He had obtained the acknowledgement of the expert's corpse. The defensive force around the demonic pillar had dissipated. Since he could enter the interior of the demonic pillar, he could naturally obtain everything from the expert. Such an unexpected opportunity was a huge surprise for Wang Xian. You're fine? At the side, the 4 disciples of the Forbidden Void were shocked when they saw Wang Xian opening his eyes and seeing that his eyes were clear. Why is this happening? Not only am I fine, but I can also obtain great benefits. Wang Xian smiled. With a swift move, he flew directly towards the corpse of the expert in the demonic pillar. Swish. He came to the side of the expert's corpse easily and bowed to it. Senior brother, the defensive force outside the demonic pillar has disappeared. We can enter the interior of the demonic pillar now. The saintess of the Forbidden Void was shocked when she saw Wang Xian coming to the front of the expert's corpse. He hurriedly shouted loudly. Swish. The Holy Son of Suni's expression changed drastically. His body moved and he instantly flew up. Wang Xian frowned when he heard the exclamations below and sensed the Saint of Void Rebellion flying over. He waved his arm and kept the expert's corpse and all his belongings. How dare you? Put down the corpse of our senior from the Forbidden Void Rebellion. The Saint of Void Rebellion was dumbfounded when he saw this. He hurriedly shouted loudly. In the beginning, when they saw Wang Xian's arm on the demonic pillar, they thought he had died from the impact of the willpower within the demonic pillar. Unexpectedly, not only did he not die, but the willpower protecting the demonic pillar had also disappeared. He could enter the demonic pillar directly. Seeing the corpse of the expert being taken away and all the treasures of the expert being in Wang Xian's hands, his expression changed drastically and he shouted loudly. What's going on? The commotion here also caused the other holy sons and holy daughters to look over in astonishment. When they saw Wang Xian was not dead and had entered the interior of the demonic pillar, they were also shocked. Holy Son of the Forbidden Space Zone, this deceased senior has already acknowledged me. Everything he had will naturally be inherited by me," said Wang Xian plainly when he saw Saint Su and I flying over. "Impudent. This is the corpse of a senior from our spatial forbidden zone. Return it to us immediately." Saint Suni's expression changed drastically. His eyes hardened as he shouted at Wang Xian. Holy Sun Su and I, according to the information I've gathered, your forbidden space zone was only established during this eon. During the last eon there was no forbidden space zone at all. You're saying that these are the corpses of the experts of your forbidden space zone? That's a bit too much." Upon hearing his words, Wang Xian replied plainly. From this expert's one-sided memory, he also knew that this expert was not an expert from the forbidden space. There was no such force in the last cataclysm. Our forbidden space zone was founded by spatial experts during the last cataclysm, and this expert is a partner of the experts in our forbidden space zone. Naturally, he's also an expert of our forbidden space zone. Holy Sun Wang Xian, please give our forbidden space zone some face and return this corpse to us. The saintess of the forbidden space zone flew over from behind and spoke plainly to Wang Xian. "I can return the corpse to you. However, there are fragmented memories and soul fragments around the corpse. I'll naturally return it to you after I absorb them," said Wang Xian. Perhaps because of the magical array, the corpse of this expert still had some soul memories after his death. These were fragmented memory fragments. These were the things that were etched deeply into this expert's memory. And the most profound memories were naturally cultivation. After absorbing them, it would indeed bring great benefits to Wang Xian. As for the corpse, it didn't contain much energy now. Therefore, it didn't matter if he returned it to the forbidden space zone. Impudent. The corpses of our seniors from the forbidden space zone are not to be desecrated. Return the corpse to us immediately. Upon hearing this, Saint Suni's expression changed again as he shouted. Saint Su and I knew what this corpse represented and what it meant. When Wang Xian heard his words again, he frowned slightly and his eyes turned cold. "Who are you calling impudent? You'd better watch your words and not seek humiliation. A corpse from the previous eons. How dare the forbidden space zone shamelessly claim that it's a senior from your forbidden space zone? You want me to return it to you? Aren't you guys some idiots? You want me to return the complete corpse to you and give you all the treasures and weapons on it?" Wang Xian stared at them and spoke with a sarcastic tone. His disdain and coldness weren't concealed at all. Previously he had already given face to the forbidden space zone. Now they were still asking for more? Let's go. Let's go. That Saint Wang Xian actually obtained a corpse and treasures from a demonic pillar. This is too fast. Didn't he just arrive? The forbidden space zone actually had a conflict with him. TSK. It seems like the forbidden space zone wants to snatch the corpse away. However, that Saint Wang Xian isn't giving them any face. That Saint Wang Xian is really something. In the past, we sent countless experts and disciples into this place, but none of them could obtain the corpses in the demonic pillars. Yet he obtained them directly. It seems like he has some way to get over there. All the saints, saintesses, and supreme talents in the entire space saw the situation and flew over immediately. They sized up Wang Xian with flickering eyes. Saint Su and I, saintess, and the other two disciples of the forbidden space zone were shocked when they heard Wang Xian's words. They stared coldly at Wang Xian, their eyes filled with malice. Everyone, don't forget the rules. Anyone who dares to violate the rules will be killed immediately. The saint of the unbarbaric tribe from the forbidden space flew over and warned Wang Xian and the saints and saintesses of the forbidden space zone. Wang Xian looked over, smiled faintly, shrugged his shoulders and said nothing. Saint Su and I stared at Wang Xian, his face filled with indignation. To all the disciples in the core of the universe ruins, the greatest opportunity was these 12 demonic pillars. Because these experts were sealed and died in the demonic pillars, their souls and wills wouldn't dissipate. If they could absorb it bit by bit, they would be able to obtain a terrifying inheritance. If they could obtain this corpse, they would be able to obtain all the inheritance of a pinnacle universe lord, a space expert. It was much stronger than the top-notch magic alms bowl. End of chapter. Chapter 3984. The saints, saintesses and other experts of the forbidden space area stared at Wang Xian with grim expressions. The 12 demonic pillars belonged to experts with spatial attributes. The treasures within the demonic pillars were obtained by Wang Xian. This also meant that the forbidden space area was not fated to have the opportunity to obtain the demonic pillar. Even the opportunity to absorb some scattered soul fragments was gone. This caused them to be filled with unwillingness. Saint Wang Xian, Can you tell us how you obtained the recognition of the corpse in the demonic pillar? The barbarian saint looked at Wang Xian and asked with flickering eyes. All of them were shocked that Wang Xian had obtained the recognition of the corpse in the demonic pillar. At the same time, their hearts were burning with passion. If they could obtain the recognition of the corpse in the demonic pillar, given their talents, they would definitely reach the pinnacle of the Universe Lord realm. I don't know the specifics. When I injected energy into the demonic pillar just now, I was attacked by the will of the demonic pillar. Scenes of the expert's death flashed in my mind. I withstood the invasion and destruction of this terrifying will, and obtained the recognition of the corpse in the demonic pillar. Wang Xian hesitated for a moment, but did not hide anything. He told them directly. There was no need for them to hide this. It would be extremely difficult to withstand the impact of the will in the demonic pillar. In fact, if Wang Xian did not possess the will and mental strength of his original body, he would have lost his life under the mental impact. This kind of will impact was not something they could withstand. Withstand the impact of the will? The barbarian saint's expression changed slightly when he heard Wang Xian's words. He looked solemn. They had been warned by their seniors to be careful of the will impact of the demonic pillar. This was not something they could withstand. In the past, some of their disciples who had just explored the Forbidden Land had died under the impact of the will. In the past, those who could enter this place were not much weaker than the barbarian saint. The saintess of the flowing water Forbidden Land also frowned slightly when she heard this. Withstanding the impact of the will of the corpse in the demonic pillar and watching the scene before his death in his memory, this should be the case. But it is extremely difficult to withstand the impact of the will. The saintess of the unforgiving Forbidden Land said with a frown. Furthermore, I'm afraid that it would require an expert of the same attribute to withstand the impact of the will. Otherwise it would be useless. The barbarian saint added with an unpleasant expression. It was too difficult to obtain the corpse within the demonic pillar. Saint Wang Xian, do you have any way to withstand the impact of this will? The saintess of the flowing water Forbidden Land couldn't help but ask. No, I don't have any treasure that can block this will. It's all because of my good luck, said Wang Xian plainly. Thank you. The barbarian saint and the rest nodded and cupped their fists at Wang Xian. They also knew about Wang Xian's situation. They didn't see what treasure he used to block the attack. This was purely a strong willpower, resisting the terrifying impact of the will. The people from the flowing water Forbidden Land and the thoughtful Forbidden Land moved and once again came before the demonic pillars, thinking about how to withstand the impact of the wills. How to obtain the recognition of the expert's corpse. The other saints' sons and saintesses of the Forbidden Lands also left. This Saint Wang Xian is really lucky. He obtained the corpse of the expert with the space attribute. In the future he will definitely step into the pinnacle of the universe dominator realm. In the future he will definitely be a top-notch expert of our continent. Yeah, who would have thought that he would obtain such a terrifying opportunity just now? This is too heaven-defying. The saints and saintesses of the spatial Forbidden Land seem very indignant. They seem to have clashed, but Wang Xian doesn't care about them at all. As long as Wang Xian doesn't die in the future, he will definitely be one of the top-notch experts of our sword and sorcery universe. This luck is too strong. However, the spatial Forbidden Land is a little unlucky this time. Without the spatial demonic pillar, they will definitely miss out on the greatest opportunity. The saints and saintesses of the Sacred Institute of the Sacred Grounds discussed softly. As for the minor conflict between Wang Xian and the saints of the spatial Forbidden Land, they were only discussing it briefly. In this universe ruin, with the rules of the thoughtful Forbidden Land and the flowing water Forbidden Land, no one dared to kill each other here. Moreover, given the strength of the saints and saintesses of the spatial Forbidden Land, they might not be a match for Wang Xian. Although Wang Xian's ranking was one rank lower than Saint Su and I of the spatial Forbidden Land, everyone knew that he had concealed his strength. Wang Xian had now become the biggest winner among all the saints, saintesses, and supreme talents. This made many saints, saintesses, and supreme talents envious. Seeing the group of saints and saintesses leaving, Wang Xian swept his gaze across the four people of the spatial Forbidden Land. With a move, he flew towards the center of the demonic pillars. There was another treasure in that place. It was the Void Pagoda. A Void Pagoda that was on the same level as Enli's. Such a Void Pagoda should only be owned by Pinnacle Universe Lord Realm experts of the Void Clan. Moreover, it seemed like only a few Pinnacle Universe Lord Realm experts of the Void Clan could own one. It was incomparably powerful and equally precious. According to the image he had just obtained, the other extremely powerful war machine had been destroyed by the 12 demonic pillars. Only this void pagoda was not destroyed. Wang Xian flew over and sized up the entire void pagoda with flickering eyes. However, the void pagoda had been sealed and there was no way to enter it. Let's wait for Enlai to arrive. I've already reaped a huge harvest this time. Wang Xian squinted his eyes slightly. He had unexpectedly obtained the corpse of an expert. Moreover, there was his will inheritance on it. This could deepen his understanding of the power of space. It would also speed up his improvement in the future. He looked around and sat on the ground with his legs crossed. A gust of energy wrapped around him. At the same time, the corpse appeared in front of him. Because of the special seal, the corpse still contained a terrifying amount of energy. Wang Xian began to cultivate quietly. The energy in the universe ruins and the power of space emitted by the corpse had greatly increased his improvement speed. It was much faster than when he was in the moon pagoda. Thousands of years passed quickly and Wang Xian opened his eyes. Today was the appointed day with Enlai. I'll summon Enlai and then enter this void pagoda. Other than that, I can also enter other war machines and even that holy kingdom. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled. Chapter 3985. Wang. A devil spirit altar appeared in front of him as Wang Xian waited patiently. Dragon King. Soon Enlai appeared and bowed respectfully to Wang Xian. Is everything normal in the Dragon Palace? Wang Xian asked. Dragon King, everything is normal in the Dragon Palace. Enlai nodded. Following which, he focused his gaze and looked to the side. Dragon King, is this the Void Tower? As he spoke, he was slightly shocked and his eyes lit up. Yes, the Void Tower. A powerful Void Tower. Enlai, bring my real body over first before we enter the Void Tower. Wang Xian nodded and continued to instruct him. Yes, Dragon King. Enlai nodded and soon he disappeared. When Enlai reappeared, Wang Xian's real body followed him. Wang Xian fused with him and the powerful energy merged again. His eyes swept around and a smile appeared on his face. This space was much more stable than the previous one. However, if he were to launch an attack, he would still be able to blast this space apart. But this was enough. If Wang Xian appeared in the previous space, this space wouldn't be able to withstand it. At least this space could withstand it. Enlai, bring me in. Wang Xian looked at the Void Tower and said. Even if his real body looked at the Void Tower, he could still sense the powerful energy and power from it. This Void Tower wasn't simple. It was much stronger than inborn cardinal treasures. It was only slightly weaker than the creation fragment of Heaven Yuan. This was already terrifying. Soon Wang Xian moved and entered the interior of the Void Pagoda. It was exactly the same as the interior of Enlai's Void Tower. Similarly, there was a throne at the highest position. That was the energy that controlled the mechanisms here. Wang Xian looked around. Compared to the Void Tower that Enlai had obtained, there were many corpses in this Void Tower. There were at least hundreds of thousands of corpses. These corpses had 2 horns and carried a trace of space energy. They looked similar to humans but their faces were completely different. Their skin was varied and some were dark. Their thick skin was like a layer of armor. Wang Xian looked around in surprise. He came to the front of a corpse and tried to sense it. This should be the Void Clan of the Void Universe, a very terrifying clan. Wang Xian mumbled to himself. These corpses should have been killed by the impact of external energy. Of course, it was also possible that they were trapped here to death. They had been here for more than 20 billion years. As for existences below the realm of fortune, their lifespan was at most 1 eon. That was a lifespan of more than 30 billion years. From the moment they were born, the Void race had definitely surpassed the limits of life. Wang Xian examined the corpses. Many of the corpses had treasures on them. The weapon looked like a sword but it was slightly different. There was a sawtooth on it. Of course, this thing could also be used as a sword. There are many treasures here. Wang Xian revealed an excited look as he kept the sharp swords. Some of the swords were comparable to Khanate cardinal treasures. There were dozens of these swords. This was definitely a huge income. Apart from weapons, there are no other resources. Wang Xian checked and did not find any elixir pills. Perhaps it had been too long and the elixir pills had evaporated. In a flash, he arrived at the seat of the throne. He sat on it and injected the power of space into it. However, Wang Xian was shocked that he could not activate this Void Pagoda. What's going on? This Void Pagoda is already ownerless and I can't activate it? I can't refine it into my own treasure? Wang Xian was shocked. Energy was injected into it but there was still no reaction. What's the reason? Special bloodline and physique? Wang Xian frowned slightly and looked to Enlai. Enlai, give it a try. Wang Xian sat on the throne and injected energy. Immediately, energy gushed into it and the entire void pagoda reacted. Enlai can do it but I can't. Is it because Enlai's physique is similar to that of the Void clan? Wang Xian guessed when he saw this scene. Some clans had their own unique weapons. Other than the experts of their own clans, other experts could not control them. This was not impossible. This was the case for this Void pagoda. Even if Wang Xian obtained an ownerless Void pagoda, he could not control it. This caused him to be filled with disappointment. The power of the Void pagoda was undeniable. But it was a pity that he could not control it. Dragon King, to control this Void pagoda, you might need a special physique. My physique is similar to that of the Void clan. That's why I can refine it. Enlai answered, besides Dragon King, this Void pagoda is already ownerless. I found a living space in this Void pagoda. I'll open it for you. Buzz buzz. As he spoke, a space appeared directly behind him. It was a huge space with a place to rest and a place to live. There was also a place to plant spiritual herbs and treasures. There are treasures in this Void pagoda? Wang Xian was taken aback and flew over immediately. Yes, Dragon King. The Void pagoda is like the nest of a clan. It's just like the Zerg clan, which has their own nest. Based on your humble servant's understanding, the Void race is divided into many clans. They are not completely unified. Many small clans of the Void race fight for themselves. The Void Tower is divided into two types. This is the nest of those small clans. It's their survival base. The experts and disciples of the Void clan born in this survival base constantly build and strengthen this Void pagoda. The second type of Void pagoda is a weapon that belongs to the top experts. Just like the Void pagoda that I have now. That's a weapon used by the real Void clan royalty to go on expeditions and not for survival. Enlai explained to Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded his head. The Void clan royalty. The royalty did not say that they had complete control over all the experts and disciples of the Void clan. There were still some clans that fought for themselves. When the Cataclysm War began, they would plunder resources and treasures. This Void pagoda should belong to one of the clans in the Void universe. They targeted the sword and sorcery universe and wanted to obtain the spatial treasures here. But they were left here. No wonder this Void pagoda is slightly different from yours. But the level should be similar. Wang Xian murmured as he stared at the space in front of him. Chapter 3986. Swoosh. Wang Xian moved and immediately flew towards the space of the Void pagoda. As a place for the survival of a tribe, there was a living space here. There was a space inside and this space was very big. Wang Xian flew over and scanned the surroundings. Finally, his eyes fell on the space in front of him. It should be the place where the divine grass and divine wood were planted. However, it looked a little deserted at this moment. The divine grass and divine wood had a lifespan even if they had not reached the heavenly Yuan creation realm. Time had already worn away everything here. However, when Wang Xian came to the center of this space, his eyes glowed. In the middle of the area, there was a stretch of divine wood. This divine wood was very strange. It looked a little illusory, just like a mirror. It hasn't been worn away by time. Wang Xian looked over and his eyes glowed. Yifuqian looked at the bottom of the divine trees again. There were fruits falling to the ground. The energy contained in some of the fruits had decreased a little. This is the growth of the divine wood. No one took away the fruits, so the fruits fell. The fruits germinated again and grew into divine wood. Looking at this scene, Wang Xian understood why these divine trees did not disappear with the passage of time. This was a cycle. In the past, when the divine wood grew, the fruits would fall, and the fruits would grow into divine wood. This was also the reason why the divine wood still existed. He looked around. There weren't many divine wood, but there were still a few hundred of them. Every one of them contained a huge amount of energy. This divine would belong to the 8th Order Universe Lord Realm. Wang Xian looked at the fruits on the top and plucked one to sense it. Spatial attribute fruits were still very useful to Wang Xian. He scanned his surroundings and discovered that there was a treasure vault in the deepest part of this place. This should be the treasure vault of this Void tribe. Wang Xian's eyes were filled with anticipation as he came to the front of the treasure vault. The treasure vault opened under Enlai's control. When he entered, all kinds of energy rushed over. In the treasure vault, there was not only spatial attribute energy, but also energy of other attributes. At the center of the entrance, there was the head of a powerful divine beast. The entire head was sealed in a transparent solid. This should belong to the decoration. However, this divine beast's head gave off a great sense of majesty. Wang Xian sized him up. This was the head of a god beast that was at least at the peak of the universe ruler realm, yet it was hunted down by the void race, leaving its head behind. Looking inside, there were some weapons. There were also many treasures that had lost their energy. Especially those treasure bottles, it was obvious that they were used to store some pills and other treasures. He swept his gaze across them one by one. Apart from the weapons, many of the other treasures had lost their energy. There were more than a dozen spatial weapons comparable to Khanate cardinal treasures. This void race is not weak, Wang Xian thought to himself. However, according to the images in his mind, the 12 demonic pillars were even more terrifying and powerful. Even if Wang Xian were to rely on the 2 heavenly yuan creation treasures, he wouldn't last more than a few minutes in there. Of course, if Wang Xian could improve further, it would be hard to say. Wang Xian opened the porcelain bottles one by one and looked inside. After opening more than a dozen of them, he didn't find anything. Buzz. With a wave of his arm, all the porcelain bottles in the treasury were opened. There were more than 200 of them. Buzz. At this time, Wang Xian felt a surge of energy coming from the few porcelain bottles in the middle. He looked over immediately. What a rich life force. With a wave of his arm, 3 porcelain bottles flew into his hands. He opened them and found some liquid stored in them. For some unknown reason, these liquids had not disappeared even after the passage of time. Perhaps it wasn't because of the medicine. Wang Xian sensed it and his eyes lit up. These liquids were filled with vitality and belonged to the wood attribute. The energy was terrifying. Although these porcelain bottles were only the size of a palm, the space inside was more than a dozen square meters. The energy contained in these 3 porcelain bottles was terrifying. This should be enough to increase the strength of my main body. Wang Xian's eyes were burning with passion. The harvest this time was simply too great. His eyes were filled with excitement. After keeping these resources, Wang Xian looked around and didn't find any other resources. These wood attribute liquids can be absorbed by my main body. The void divine dragon body can absorb the spatial attribute divine wood. Wang Xian murmured. Enlai. His mind flickered as he shouted at Enlai. Enlai flew over immediately. Dragon King. He bowed respectfully. Let's go to the other places first. His figure moved, leaving his main body here as he instructed Enlai. Enlai nodded and brought him out immediately. Conceal yourself, Wang Xian said to him before flying to the entrance of this space. He looked at the space above him and flew up. After passing through this space vortex, he returned to the unstable space above. It's Saint Wang Xian from the Dragon Roar Forbidden Ground. He came from below. Seems like he can really go down. But given our strength, I'm afraid it might be dangerous. What's the space below? When he came out, he noticed many saints, saintesses, and supreme talents from the sacred institute of the other saints around. When they saw Wang Xian flying out, their faces were filled with shock. Saint Wang Xian, what's that space? Can you tell us? A saintess couldn't help but ask Wang Xian. It's a space that contains more energy. There are some great opportunities in it. But without the strength of a third-order universe lord, don't even think about entering it. Wang Xian swept a glance at them. Without hiding anything, he spoke directly. Thank you, Saint Wang Xian. The saintess thanked him immediately. She looked at the entrance of that space with passion. Wang Xian didn't reply and continued flying forward. A space that contains more energy contains great opportunities? The rest of the saints, saintesses, and supreme talents also looked inside with passion. Saint Wang Xian shouldn't be lying to us. Those powerful saints, saintesses, and supreme talents don't seem to be in this space anymore. However, only third-order universe sovereigns and above can enter. They looked at the entrance with helplessness. Chapter 3987. After speaking to the group of saints, saintesses, and heavenly talents, Wang Xian left. His first target was a god nation. A god nation of a universe lord. It should be an expert from the Nine Origins universe who had joined this war for some unknown reason. Although the god nation was sealed, it still contained energy. Wang Xian flew over with Enlai and entered easily. A god nation from the previous cataclysm is really rare. Wang Xian entered and scanned the surroundings. His figure moved and he immediately searched the surroundings. He found a pool filled with energy. This pool contained a vast amount of water-attributed energy. This water energy was enough to increase Wang Xian's dragon energy by a lot. Other than this, he didn't find any other resources. I can call Audiobook and the rest over to devour this god nation slowly. After all, this is the god nation of a pinnacle universe lord. Wang Xian murmured. However, given Aosier and the rest strength, it would take too long for them to devour this god nation completely. Moreover, if the level was too high they might not be able to devour it. Unlai, bring Aosier and the rest over. If they can devour it, it will be a great opportunity for them. Wang Xian said. Yes, Dragon King. Enlai nodded and disappeared immediately. Soon Enlai arrived with Aosier. Greetings, Dragon King. Aosier greeted Wang Xian respectfully when he saw him. Let's see if this god nation can be devoured. Wang Xian said to him. It's the Dragon King. Dragon King, the level of this god nation is so high. Aosier looked around with a fiery look in his eyes. Yes, Pinnacle Universe Lord. You stay here first. Let's go to other places. Wang Xian said. He and Enlai went to other war machines. There were more than 10 places that they couldn't enter. However, with Enlai they could enter easily. They came to the war machines. Unfortunately, Wang Xian didn't find any other resources. There were many divine stones of various attributes. However, Wang Xian couldn't devour them to increase his strength. Other than divine stones there were various metals. These metals were of great use to the 5 elements grindstone and Tai Chi dragon board. War machines were used for war, so it was normal for them to not have resources such as elixirs and spiritual herbs. However, the harvest was still huge. This Heaven's Tower is really powerful. It's a very powerful war machine. Give the blueprint to Firehammer Dragon and Witch Dragon. Let them study it with Lin Wenluo and see if they can build the Heaven's Tower. Wang Xian said to Enlai. The Heaven's Tower was a war machine. Wang Xian happened to find a blueprint of the Heaven's Tower here. A war machine of this level could kill a peak universe ruler realm existence. It was also a great killing weapon that could move unhindered across the universe. In the past, the Divine Dragon race was not adept at using weapons. However, due to the combination of the Divine Dragon race and the Insectoid race's technology, the Divine Dragon race's technology had improved greatly. The new dragon species that were born all had different directions. If they could build a powerful sky tower, it would be a huge boost to the strength of the Dragon Palace. It's Dragon King. Enlai nodded. After looting all the war machines that could not be entered, Wang Xian returned to the Heavenly Kingdom. Seeing Roving Crab and the group of devouring dragons devouring, he nodded slightly. As long as they could devour, Roving Crab and the rest could improve rapidly. It's time for me to improve myself. It's been a long time since I improved my strength. Wang Xian mumbled to himself. He got Enlai to bring him to the Void Tower, where Wang Xian's main body was sitting cross-legged. Upgrade. He revealed a faint smile. With a move, he immediately transformed into the Nine-Source universe. Brr, brr. Wang Xian let out a deep roar. Large amounts of resources appeared in front of him. Void Divine Dragon Body, I'll start cultivating too. The body of the Void Divine Dragon sat cross-legged at the side, took out the expert's corpse and cultivated quietly. In the remaining time, Wang Xian began to improve his strength. The resources he had obtained this time were enough for him to upgrade to another level. As time passed, the energy in Wang Xian's body was also increasing rapidly. Boom boom boom. Ka. After more than 10,000 years, a vast amount of energy gushed out from Wang Xian's dragon body. 9 types of attributes radiated dazzling lights around him. Sacred and majestic. Vast amounts of energy gushed out from Wang Xian's body. No matter which universe this energy was in, it would definitely be a top-notch existence. The strength of a Universe Lord. Ding. Congratulations on leveling up to 5th Order Universe Lord. Ding. Congratulations on leveling up to 5th Order Universe Lord. The system's voice sounded. Wang Xian opened his eyes and revealed a tinge of excitement. His mind moved. Name: Wang Xian Race. 9 Origins Divine Dragon Human Dragon Unification. Level: 5th Order Universe Lord. 9 changes to 1. Source: 1%, 99% required for next breakthrough. Superpower: dominate the marine animals, rule all marine animals lower than your own level, devour living things to extract source. 5 elements control art of cultivation. Divine Dragon Transformation Superpowers: soul assimilation, spiritual attachment law of superpowers. Dragon Eye Lock, 5 elements. Dragon Claw Yin Yang World Breaker, 8 Luminaries Dragon Scale, Saint Dragon Shadow, 8 Divisions of Heavenly Dragon, Dragon Tomb, Soaring Cloud Dragon, True Dragon Body Law of Dharma. 8 Direction Dragon Pillar, 8 Dragons Doppelgangers, Towering Dragon Horns, Mighty Heavenly Dragon, Godly Tail Playing with Pearls, Dragon Breath of Life, Shadow Dragon Doppelganger, Netherworld Dragon Pursuit, Netherworld Dragon Conversion, Thunderstorm Dragon Life, Berserk Dragon Star Explosion. Territory: 9 Origins Dragon Domain Law of Mastery: Metal, Wood, Water, Fire, Earth, Light, Darkness, Wind, Thunder Deity Nation. Dragon Palace Possession of Dragon Palace. Inborn Dragon Palace members, 8060450. I've finally broken through. It's been tens of millions of years, almost hundreds of millions of years. I've finally broken through. Wang Xian looked at his own attributes and revealed a smile. His realm had risen to 5th Order Universe Lord Realm. With his 9 attributes and without the help of any treasures, he would be able to fight against a Universe Lord Realm expert. If he could use the Heaven Yuan Fortune Shard, it would be even more terrifying. Wang Xian felt the strength in his body and revealed a smile. The strength of his body was the foundation of everything. At present, with his strength and trump cards, no one in the entire sword and sorcery universe, except for the 2 Heaven Yuan Fortune Shard existences, could be his match. Of course, he still had to keep a low profile. Once he was targeted by the Heaven Yuan Fortune Shard, Wang Xian would still be killed instantly. Next, I'll upgrade the 5 Elements Grindstone and Tai Chi Dragon Board. The metal and some weapons I obtain this time should be able to upgrade them a little. Wang Xian thought to himself. Although it was not enough to upgrade the 5 Elements Grindstone and Tai Chi Dragon Board directly, it could increase their accumulation. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.